Hi guys, MrRoflWaffles here. Over the last 24 to 48 hours, there have been a huge number of leaks for Call of Duty World War II's Zombies mode, and in fact, for the multiplayer a little bit as well. They all stem from the PC beta for the game that happened fairly recently. Obviously, the console beta happened first, and that was on Xbox and PS4, but the PC beta was significantly delayed compared to those consoles, and was much more recent, and has also been the source of absolutely all of this huge dump of information coming out, and basically being posted all over Reddit and in YouTube videos and stuff like that in the last couple of days. Now, this seems to be a pretty common problem at this point. In fact, the Black Ops 3 beta had this issue, Infinite Warfare had a load of issues with leaks happening before release. In fact, there were even files that got out that weren't from the beta, but were from the raw game that got out for Infinite Warfare, which was bizarre. It was like 100 megabytes of just raw game data that got uploaded for some reason. And then for Destiny 2, for example, there were a load of beta leaks, and it's just a real problem for Call of Duty and generally Activision products, it seems. Now, this particular instance of leaks is, I guess, difficult and challenging compared to some of the ones that have happened in the past, simply because of the sheer volume of information contained within them. Now, as you guys know, I'm sure, or if you don't know, I'll tell you now, I am personally not one to cover the nitty-gritty details of leaks on my channel because I don't want to spoil people who don't want to be spoiled just accidentally. I'm not really for the promotion of the leaks themselves or anything like that. It's just a personal stance whereby I feel that it's better for the developers to decide when and where certain bits of information get out, whether it's through a trailer that they do, whether it's through YouTuber Early Access gameplay reveal, or regular media sites, so for example IGN, Game Informer, a reveal through them as well. In my opinion, as long as the devs are deciding, I'm happy. I think that that's the best way to go about things, but there are a huge number of people that also feel that leaks actually help sell the game, help generate conversation, and especially at a time like this when pretty much nothing is really happening for World War II, like there's hardly any news or anything happening right now, especially with regard to zombies, and so basically any conversation could be seen as good conversation. Anyhow, the focus of this video is not on my stance on leaks or the nitty-gritty details of the leaks themselves, although I will talk a little bit about just sort of what it is that has leaked, but not really much more than that, okay? Just so that you guys are, I guess, warned if you want to stay away from them, or more curious, I suppose, if you do want to find them and seek them out, and that's completely your right, by all means, don't worry. Specifically, though, what I want to focus on in this video is that Sledgehammer have, again, broken form relative to the previous kind of approach of Treyarch and Infinity Ward, in that they have come out and put out a statement about the leak less than a day or two after it has actually happened. They have come out and condemned it. They've said that they do not condone anything like this, and I'll read you those quotes in just a moment. But first, I just wanted to kind of set the scene for why this is even interesting in the first place, okay? When Treyarch stuff leaks, so for example, Chronicles had a huge slew of leaks before it actually got officially announced, Treyarch didn't say anything, and so people assumed that maybe that was all part of their marketing campaign, and they wanted the leaks to be out there and floating around, spread on YouTube channels, talked about openly, etc. People always have purported that it's part of their marketing strategy, but not really had any evidence for that claim, other than the fact that they're not disputing it, and as such, it must be true. Sledgehammer take a very different approach. Their statement, from Michael Condrey in fact, is as follows. There's one about the multiplayer, which I'll read first of all. Condrey says, "We are super proud of the game and cannot wait to play it with the community, so please hang on for a bit as November 3rd is almost here," which is when the game is coming out. "In the meantime, here's a first look at our London map in multiplayer. It's a studio favourite for Domination, Hardpoint, and TDM, and we think it could be a standout for the competitive season ahead. Also, it's a lot of fun for the new Gridiron game mode coming at launch. Here is a taste." And they released 2 screenshots. Now, I'm going to come back to these screenshots in a moment. I'll obviously display them on the screen right now so you can check them out, but I'm going to come back to this momentarily. Now let's read the Zombies comment about the leaks, okay? Call of Duty World War II has been in development for nearly 3 years, and we're now less than a month before launch. We can't wait for fans to experience it on November 3rd. With betas, there's always the risk that some people will try and spoil that experience for others. We've had a couple of things leak recently across multiplayer and zombies, and it's disappointing for everyone involved in creating the game. But, in the spirit of transparency, we want to be upfront about it. Some of the details were inaccurate, early, or still subject to change. Others we would consider spoilers. We never plan for leaks. Key phrase there. We never plan for leaks, but we also understand that it's hard for fans not to read the news about it when it's about something they're so excited to learn more about. So, what Condry has quite, I guess, tactfully said there is that they don't condone leaks. They are not planning for it, it's not part of their strategy, they are against the release and spreading of those leaks. However, they're not going to blame a fan for being naturally curious and wanting to know more about the game that they're so excited to play in now less than a month's time. So it's a really sort of two-sided comment where he basically says, we really don't like this, but we also understand that this is something that you guys are so passionate about that we sort of get it. It's interesting to me that he specifically says that some of the details are inaccurate, early, and subject to change, because that instantly throws into disrepute all of the people saying that these are 100% confirmed, and that we can rely on these being exactly as described by the leaks in the full reveal of the game. I mean, as I said earlier, to give you an idea of some of the things that are included in the leak, there are things like pack-a-punched weapon names, I believe, and by the way, I haven't read it, so I'm only going by what I've been told by other people who have read it and combed through it, etc. There are some sounds, I believe, from, like, menus and stuff in there. There's stuff to do with particular features in the game itself, so I think there might be some stuff to do with maybe a new gobblegum system, although I don't know anything about that. That's, again, word of mouth that I'm hearing here, so it's kind of second-hand information, or third-hand, really. And there's also stuff to do with just different abilities and stuff in the mode itself. So, clearly, that's quite a large extent of the game itself. And I think there's also perk information as well. So, that's perks, guns, abilities, probably by association, some indication of where the story's going to go, maybe by association some Easter egg stuff as well, and, I mean, that's pretty much a description of the entirety of Zombies. So, quite a substantial leak, but some of it's subject to change, not all of it's permanent, and so we can't expect it all to be exactly reproduced as we're currently seeing it in the final game on November 3rd. Now then, I said that I would come back to these two screenshots from the London multiplayer map, and I'm going to do that now, because although it's not directly zombies related, i.e. it's not a zombies screenshot, there's not zombies in the image, or in the images rather, it's still extremely important to take a look at Sledgehammer's approach here, okay? They've seen a huge leak with their original trailer a while ago, the original Zombies reveal trailer, huge leak that Glitching Queen was caught up in, and there was a huge sort of hubbub in the community about that. And then that kind of ended up filtering out, and they said that they didn't like the leak, they said that it wasn't the full trailer. The full trailer came out, and basically all was fine. As far as I'm aware, that situation pretty much de-escalated pretty damn fast, and people just focused on the legit trailer, and people didn't really cover the leak so much on YouTube as well because Sledgehammer weren't happy with it. So they kind of took a bad situation and made it into a good one by releasing a really cool full trailer. Now in this situation, there's been another leak, and just like last time, they've commented on it straight away, but not only have they commented on it straight away, this time round, because they don't have the luxury of a new trailer that's really cool being about to be released, they've had to find something to kind of sate people's curiosity and sate their hunger for more official information, and release two screenshots that, as far as I can tell, wouldn't necessarily have been released at this time. These are the sorts of things that I feel like they're trying to use to kind of plug the gap and say, okay, there's been a leak, we're really sorry, but here's a cool shiny thing for you guys to look at that's not a leak and it's still official because we're releasing it now. Isn't that cool? And on the one hand, I think that this is absolutely awesome because they're kind of seeing the fact that the community is hungry for stuff right now. Doesn't really matter what it is. I mean, these are just two screenshots, for goodness sake. It's not like they're that crazy, but they're still pretty damn awesome. It's a new game mode that they're doing for the multiplayer, and just generally, it's a nice kind of change of tempo to suddenly have something to talk about. However, I do think that there's maybe a risk of this going too far the other way. If Sledgehammer end up in a position where they feel inclined to comment on every little leak that happens, but not only that, also kind of show their emotional investment into the franchise, I feel like it might end up kind of undercutting some of the things that they want to do. And this is something that I've seen with Glenn Schofield's tweets, and Condry, and the studio itself, Sledgehammer, and just generally, I completely understand that you guys are unfathomably passionate about this project that you've been working on for the last 3 years, and that is really deeply ingrained in the studio as well. I've read the pieces about how World War II holds a really special significance for the entirety of the Sledgehammer studio, and I'm not trying to diminish the fact that you guys are obviously pouring your hearts and souls into this, and as such, you want to be completely open about it and show how much you love the project, and I recognise that it's disheartening when there are leaks and it kind of undermines the work that you are doing. But part of me feels like there's a balance to be found, and always coming back and talking about the leak, and always coming back and saying how horrible this is for the studio, and how you've put so much work into this, and it's just upsetting for everyone involved that their work would then basically be undercut, like I've just said, by a leak that they didn't intend to happen in the first place, and is kind of poorly representing the amazingly hard work that you guys are doing. I just feel like there's a fine line, and going too far the other way and being too emotional about it might mean that in the future, certain decisions end up being made that might, in the long term, mean that your sort of strategy for your game is diminished a little bit. For example, these 2 screenshots. Let's say, hypothetically, they were being saved for some really cool reveal in a week's time. I'm a little concerned, just a little bit, okay? This isn't a big deal by any means, and it's something that I don't think Sledgehammer are guilty of or really sort of needing to fear right now. It's just an observation. If these 2 images were being saved for a really cool reveal in 2 weeks' time or a week's time or something, and instead they pulled forward the screenshots to now to plug the gap of a leak, I'm a little worried that if that keeps happening and emotional decisions, sort of like, oh, damn, this really sucks, let's try and divert their attention elsewhere, might mean that the really cool reveals that would have been happening in a week or 2 might end up being a little less epic. I feel like Sledgehammer, as much as the leaks are horrible, need to, I guess, remember to carve their own path throughout the year, because they've got an entire year now of their game. They're in the spotlight, they're in the focus, Jason Blundell is not in the limelight anymore. Lee Ross is not in the limelight anymore. They went out with a bang, and that's basically been and gone, and that's great, but now it's Sledgehammer's turn, and I really think that by seizing the initiative and by trying to get one step ahead of the leaks rather than acting reactively to them, they'll deliver a much more satisfying project for everybody involved. But let me know if you disagree with this down in the comments down below. Like I said, this isn't something that I'm gonna be crying myself to sleep about every night. It's just something that I think is a potentially interesting topic for us to discuss as a community and sort of think about as we go forwards and get closer to the game and more leaks inevitably start popping up. Obviously, you guys know me, I'm not exactly going to be posting about leaks every day until World War II comes out now, but I figured that seeing as this is an interesting topic to discuss, and seeing as it is a deviation from the trend of the previous years, it would be worth making a video about and generating some conversation around. If you have enjoyed the video, the like button is the place to click, and in fact, you should probably subscribe if you haven't already, because I am Become Zombies, destroyer of all other multiplayer modes. Literally, I am so ready to just become one with the Zombies mode in World War II Zombies. I am gonna completely dedicate myself to this game, and I might still be in school, but that's not gonna stop me from posting a hell of a lot of Zombies videos as soon as it comes out on November 3rd. Okay? I'm MrRoflWaffles. Catch you soon. Bye-bye.